Hello, welcome to Yin Yoga. Today we're going to focus on moving the spine in all directions. That means forward flexion, that means extension, so a back bend. It means lateral flexion and rotation. So we're going to focus on that today. So we're not going to get deeply into the hips or the shoulders or anything like we often do, but your back should feel luscious after this practice. So props. I'm going to primarily use a bolster today for myself. For certain ones, you can also have a sturdy cushion or a pillow for that, or a stack of folded blankets will also work just as well. When we go back into one of our back bends, if you don't have a bolster, a block can be nice to make this softer. You can put a folded blanket or something underneath it. And for those of you that can back bend a little bit, going from a supine back bend a little bit, but not a whole lot, I'm going to recommend a little bit of a blanket roll. Now, this is a thicker blanket roll here, but you are in charge of how you want to do that. So you can always maybe not roll it as much if you need just a little bit. Where you're going to put this is you're going to put it right along the low rib cage or the bra line. So if you want something just a little bit, you can put it like this. And then this little bit of a roll will give you that just a teeny tiny bit of extension there without anything too extreme. So just know that there's different ways to do different things. That's my example. I'm going to roll that up here. I may or may not use that for Shavasana. We'll see. So from here, coming to a nice seat, and I'm moving the flesh out of the way of the sits bones so I can get my hips, sits bones really rooted. And you can always sit up on a blanket, a bolster, or a folded or a block, not a folded block, but a folded blanket. So sit where you need to sit if you're really tight. I'm zipping up from pubic bone to behind the navel. Good, let's take the chin to the chest. Getting that nice, hope nobody heard that pop back there. Had some dogs try to take over the bed last night, so I slept a little funny. Good, and then from here we'll come back up and we'll look up. Take your gaze and your chin where the ceiling and the wall meet. And if it's okay for you, could you take your jaw forward? It'll make a funny face, but you'll get a nice stretch here under the chin. Good, and then we'll come back. I have been told several times that doing that stretch helps the chin stay nice and tight and not sag as you age. I have no idea if that's true, but it's a free thing you can do, and it's always worth a try. So from here, let's take the left ear to the left shoulder, and feel free to explore just kind of moving around just a little subtle spot, finding your optimal spot. And then we'll come back up. We'll go to the other side. Now, here's my optimal spot right here. I didn't even have to move that around a lot. And coming back to center. Good. Keeping your shoulders down, shoulders and sternum forward. Move only the neck and the head to the left and to the right. Good. Now, the next time you come to the left, good. Making sure this shoulder is back. Could you take your eyes only a little bit more to the left and notice how you can turn maybe a little bit more to the left? Good. And then we'll come back to center. Same thing to the right. I'm going to look to the right. I'm going to keep my left shoulder back. Now I'm going to take my eyes a little bit more to the right. And coming back to center. Good. From here, just get some nice big shoulder rolls. Good. And then maybe forward. All right. Let's go into a gentle twist. Big inhale. Exhale. Rotate towards my left. I'm reaching towards the left. Rolling shoulders back. Again, I'm going to look more to my left. I want to breathe and expand through the rib cage here. And inhale and lift. Exhale, center. Inhale, exhale, other side. Arms are going to come down, rolling shoulders back, maybe looking a little bit more behind you. Again, breathe and expand. And notice if or how this side is more different than the other. Maybe it's more tight, maybe it's more open. It's also possible could feel about the same. And we'll come up and we'll come down. So hands over the heart here, setting your intention. So today your intention is your own. I don't have anything specific for you. So what would you like to give or receive from this session? You can always dedicate this session to yourself, someone else, or something. And once you have that set, we will just go right into a wrist roll. And then let's take that in the other direction. Good. I'm going to turn sideways. We're going to go real quick to a seated cat-cow. I want to make sure that our backs are nice and loose before we come into these longer holds. So I'm going to take my hands to my knees here, and I'm sitting up nice and tall. I'm supporting my spine with my front, so I'm zipped up and in. And I'm going to take the chest forward, rolling the shoulders back. Good. So you're in a little bit of a back bend here. Yes. And then I'm going to round. Now I'm taking the spine into that flexion. Belly button comes in. Good. Taking it to extension and flexion. Extension and flexion. Good. Now from here, when you're ready, good. You can take your hands, arm anywhere, just gentle, gentle rotation. Gentle, gentle side bend. Good. And congratulations, we have moved the spine in all directions. You are now done with this session. Just joking, but we have moved the spine in all directions already. So let's go into the deeper holds here. We're going to start off with a Sphinx. So I'm going to come prone here, which is belly down. You can always have something under the pelvis if you need extra support there. And make sure it's something soft under the pelvis. And I'm going to make sure that my legs are about hip width apart here. My tops of the feet are down. So when we come up, your shoulders can be behind or over top of the elbows. Now I'm cueing Sphinx. I'm going to demo Sphinx. If high heel is in your practice and you would rather go there today, feel free to go there. This is going to be a 2-minute hold to start. Okay. So when you're ready, good. I'm going to press the elbows and forearms into the floor. The tops of my hands are down. I'm going to take my chest more forward, rolling my shoulders back, finding a little bit more length in that lower body. And I'm going to breathe here. So remember, engaging the front body helps you back bend safely in the back body. And be mindful of your shoulders where they are. So we don't want to be down here. So we're pressing away. If you feel yourself slip, press away. If you can't press away anymore, then it's time to take a break and not stay there. Breathing and expanding. Always returning to the breath. Always returning to your intention. We always want to practice and move with intention. Breathe and expand. If you're someone like me that tends to have a little tightness in the back because of different things you do, your own lifestyle, envision how that would feel if you were more open in the back, a little bit looser in the back. Not Cirque du Soleil loose, but loose enough to where you can move around with greater ease. If you move with ease, you move with more confidence. Good. And then from here, we'll come down from there. Make a recovery pillow with your hands. Your legs can come a little bit wider. I'm going to turn hip, knees, and toes out away from the body here. Little crocodile pose. And I'm just going to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Not everybody cues the wiggle. I like the wiggle. I think it just makes the low back feel a little bit better and a little bit looser based on what you just did. Okay, let's take hands under the shoulders. I'm going to bring my legs back in, press back, and find a child's pose. You can make it a roundy child's pose. Needs to be together as wide as the mat or somewhere in between. You can take your arms long in front of you or hands back by the ankles. You choose. And just breathe here again. Your belly button is still in here. And then from here, I'm going to take my hands under my shoulders and I'm going to press myself up out of there. We're going to take this next one into caterpillar. So we did some deeper extension. We're going to go into some deeper flexion to counter that extension. So different things you can do here. You may or may not need a prop for support. You may or may not want a prop for a little bit of extra. So for caterpillar, different things, you can have a bolster or a stack of blankets right on top of the legs. And this is your support, especially if you're someone who should not come into a deep flexion. This is nice putting on the brakes, if you will, because it won't allow you to come into a really deep flexion, but you can still get some. So you can have the legs open a little bit here. Let this kind of sink in, if that would feel better to you. I'm going to put this to the side. Those of you that don't need one, now I did not cue a strap today, but you can certainly bring one in. And you can also reach for your shins, your feet, your toes, or you can take a block and put in front of the feet, maybe this way, maybe this way. I've seen a couple people actually do it that way. Not me, but I've seen that, so I know it's possible. And then just a little bit of lightness wherever you're gripping. So that's going to be your deepest flexion. We're going to do this one for 3 minutes. For 3 minutes. Good. So get set up, and remember, you can always sit up on a folded blanket or a pillow if you need that as well. You can also support under the knees if you're really tight in the hamstrings, but don't want to think about keeping a little bend there. The blanket or whatever it is you're putting under there will give you support on its own. Good. So from here, take a nice big breath, reach up nice and tall, your belly button is in. And then from here, so you can fold over a bolster if you're using that. I'm going to lengthen my spine just a little bit here, and then I'm going to round in. And I've got my block here for now, but I'm not going to start right off with it. And then I'm just going to let my body be my guide and let me know when it's ready to come deeper. And it might not let me know it's ready to come deeper because it may not want that today. And that's okay. So taking those big deep breaths, returning to intention. My intention is open heart, open mind. And you'll know when your body wants to sink deeper because it'll try to do that usually on an exhale. We're just less than the halfway point. So if you need to back off a little bit or come out completely, feel free to do that. There's times when I'm practicing where I can get really deep for a moment, and then my body needs to back off for a little bit, and then it wants to sink back in into the deeper part of that. So all of those are fine. Just listen to your body. It's your best teacher. Remember, if you're holding on to anything, even if it's a bolster, it's always a light grip, never a death. Big expansion here. So from here, carefully, carefully come out of there from where you went. Good. Let's take the hands to the side. We're going to do a gentle, gentle extension. So think about the seated cat-cows that we did. So, because that's what we're going to do, a seated cow. So just going to take the chest forward, rolling shoulders back. Belly button is in. I'm looking up. And release. Good. We're going to come into lateral flexion and rotation now. So I'm going to move this block out of the way. I'm going to turn and face you now. So because these are 3-minute holds, you could take both legs out wide and do these. Today, I'm going to keep it a little bit easier. My pants keep falling down here. Apologies. Okay. Today, I'm going to keep it a little bit more gentle for me. And I'm going to start by taking my right foot into that left thigh. My left leg is out, but I still don't have my left leg out as wide as possible. So an example of that, here as wide as possible. When it's completely out to my side, I'm just going to bring that in a little bit. Okay. So options here for the side bend, you can just side bend here. If you're doing this one, when we get to the rotation, this will be your rotation. Okay. Those of you that want to come up and start with that side bend, and then you'll rotate that way. Okay. So choose what works best for your body in this moment on this side. You can also have a block or folded blanket by your side here. If you need to not go as deep, that can help you with support. So from here, good. Okay. Squaring off the hips just a little bit here. So my hip bones are forward. Big inhale and reach. Exhale, get your side bend or rotate. You get that? Good. Rotate and fold. The bones are grounded on both sides here, no matter where you're at. And I'm breathing in. I'm going to be careful not to go too deep right off the bat here. But I'm breathing. So you should feel this right in this area right here, regardless of what version that you're doing. That's where we want to get into. Those are muscles that tend to cause a cranky low back when they're really tight. Return to the breath. Return to your intention. And I'm trying to take big, expansive breaths here. I'm really trying to expand the rib cage. If we start to come to the halfway point, you choose. Good. Are you going to stay where you are? Or would you like to come into rotation? So remember, if you just did the side bend, your rotation is going to be here. You can always come out if you followed me and go that route. Or if you followed me and you folded in here, good. Your left arm or hand is going to come on the inside of the left leg. Your right hand is going to come somewhere on the outside of that leg. And then I'm going to rotate, opening up. And again, you want to breathe and expand. So for my intention, which was open heart, open mind, what could I open my heart to a little bit more today? Is it this practice, this pose? Is it a new idea? And then from here, if you followed me and took a little bit of a deeper rotation, carefully come out of that. Everyone else, carefully come out of your rotation, carefully come out of the side bend. Good. From here, when you're ready, we're going to switch sides. So now I'm going to take my right leg out, left foot in. Again, both legs can be open here. Practice where it feels good to you to practice. And again, you don't want to come out to your widest possible. So I'm going to just reset this timer here again. Good for 3 minutes. And when you're ready, you can come up. You can get that side bend, or you can follow me. So big inhale, exhale, side bend, or rotate and fold. Sits bones are grounded. Remembering letting your body be the guide when it's ready to fold in deeper or go deeper. And returning to the breath. When you expand that rib cage, you get into those intercostal muscles, those muscles between the ribs. Sometimes they get tight too. Returning to intention. So with mine being open heart, open mind, what could I open my mind to? Can I open my mind to? As we start to approach the halfway point here, choose where you're going to go next. Are you going to stay where you are? Are you going to be a little bit up and rotate here? Or are you going to rotate a little bit deeper with me? So from here, my right arm is going to come on the inside somewhere of that right leg. My left hand is going to come somewhere on the outside of that right leg. That might be enough, or you can continue to rotate and open. Good. Breathing and expanding again. The bones are still grounded, so if your left hip bone came up, I'm going to back off a little bit so it can be a little bit more rooted. For me, opening my heart this week is going to be inviting in more joy. I've got a busy, busy week ahead. You always want to make time for that joy when you get busy. Does the heart, mind, and soul very well. Good. And then from here, carefully, carefully come out of there and we'll come back up. Good. So hopefully you feel a little bit more open in the side body now. We're going to go back and take a more gentle, supported back bend as our final back bend here. So again, those of you that need just a little bit of support, you can have a folded blanket, blanket that's folded a little bit can work. You can roll it up a little bit. You can roll it up a lot. This is especially true if you want something a little bit thicker, but you need something softer. You can bring in a block here. I'll demo this block real quick, and then I'm gonna grab my bolster. But you always wanna put this, I'm gonna use a lady's cue, but think about right along the bra line or right along that low rib cage. Another thing to think about is, especially if you're using the block, is you want it right below the shoulder blades. If you get it up too high, it's gonna be very uncomfortable. And certainly if you get it too low, then that's just gonna be super painful and just not a good idea to put that there. So make sure you're in the correct spot. And if you're using the block and the bolster for that matter, you want your shoulders to be able to relax off of here. You can always support the head on something as well. You're still getting the back bend. Legs can be long, they can be bent, you choose. Good. And I'm gonna come up here. I'm gonna grab my bolster because that's the one I want to use. So if you're using a bolster or a thicker cushion, you want to bring that all the way up against the body. Good. And then you just, actually, I'm going to bring this block with me. I think I might use a head support here. And then you're just going to back over it. So you've still got that support where I told you. Your lumbar is also a little bit supported here as well. And then I'm just going to come back. I'm going to grab my block here. I'm going to place that right under my head for a little support. Good. Get a ponytail in the way back here. Good. So I can still freely move and I'm supported. Same thing if you're using a slightly rolled or folded blanket. Your shoulders are not on the blanket, they are off. Okay. If your shoulders are on the blanket, you've got that blanket too high. Good. And I'm just going to breathe and expand and allow everything to settle in. Now, even though this is a supported back bend, I still have my front body nice and engaged because you still want to be able, even with support, to have that front body support so you can still back bend safely. I'm expanding in the rib cage. You can incorporate the Ujjayi here. If you would like to take a few rounds on your own of the box breathing, you can. Another great here is 4 by 8. So inhaling for 4, exhaling for 8. Find your breath rhythm. So I had my timer set for 3 minutes, but if 3 minutes is not your jam, it's not a big deal. Come out when your body, or if your body tells you you need to come out. Some days I can do this one for 4 minutes. Other days I struggle to make it through a minute. So there's no worries. Envisioning the body melting a little bit into whatever prop you used. Cushion, block, folded blanket, rolled blanket. And from here, when you're ready, based on what you chose to support yourself with in the back bend, will somewhat determine or dictate how you come up out of here. So be mindful about that. And then from here, just a real quick little counter flexion. Nothing deep, nothing extreme. And then when you're ready, we're going to come on to our back. Now I've got my bolster here again. You can also use a block for this or some folded blanket. And we're going to come to a little legs up the wall just to kind of release anything that may have come up from the back bend. Back bends are just in forward fold, can bring up different things for different people, as is twist. So if you're going to use a block, you can use it here on what I call the ranch house setting or the townhouse setting. I want you to avoid this setting because on this setting, only the tailbone really is supported. You want the tailbone and both the bones, SI joint supported. And so having it this way or this way allows for that. Okay, you can do that. I'm going to use my bolster here. You can always use a folded blanket as well. I have to come into a little bit of a back bend to get this under there. Good. But I want both of these to be, whether you're using the cushion or the block, you want it to be under the sacrum. You don't want it to be under here on the lumbar. Okay. So no blocks or props under that lumbar. And then when you're ready, one leg at a time is going to come up here. We're going to be here for 2 minutes. And you can hold on to your prop. You know, that's always okay. Good. You can always move the feet around. Apologies if you heard that loud pop. Popping, cracking, all that. Snap, crackle, pop. All okay as long as there's no pain associated with the sound. This means there's air in the joint. I'm going to spread the toes and squeeze a little bit here. And I love doing this one after I've been on a long plane ride when we get to the hotel room or Airbnb, wherever it is we're staying. A long car ride as well, for that matter. It reverses some of that blood flow. It's also very calming. You can always do this up against a wall. If you are worried about, falling asleep and the legs falling out or something like that. If you're in bed, you can turn around and put your feet up against a headboard or a wall so you don't have to be on the floor. That's what I do in hotel rooms because you never quite know about that floor. Breathe, reconnect with intention. And I'm going to say this is about 2 minutes because I just looked over and I forgot to set the timer. But feel free to stay here as long as you want. This is great. So I'm just going to gently bend the knees. I'm going to take one leg down at a time. I'm going to lift the hips. And I'm just going to move this bolster a little bit out of the way here. I don't want it to take it too far away because I'm going to use it for Shavasana in a moment. But we're just going to do a very gentle supine twist. This will not be a long hold. I'm just going to take my knees in the tabletop, arms over. These can come over here. I'm just taking them to the right first, but it doesn't matter what side you want to take them to. Let's breathe and expand. And when you're ready, let's take one leg at a time back to center. Let's get that supine twist on the other side. Breathing and expanding. And one leg at a time, coming back to center. So you can bring in any props that you would like for your Shavasana time. I've decided I'm going to use my bolster today. So I'm going to bring that right in. Good under my legs. You can also put a pillow under here. You can fold a blanket, putting under your knees. That can feel lovely. And then I'm going to undo my blanket roll. But you can always do a spinal roll with your blanket as well if you would like to. I'll probably get up here really fuzzy. This is a brand new blanket. Good. So now I've got my blanket roll, the blanket fold. I'm going to take that back. Now my head and neck are nice and supported, supporting a nice relaxation. Get yourself a wiggle, 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 making yourself about 10% more comfortable. I'll leave you here for a few short moments, coming back to intention, coming back to envisioning your body, your back, your trunk moving with greater ease. And gently begin to come back to yourself, to the breath. Choose stillness or invite movement of fingers and toes. Choose stillness or gently take head and neck from side to side. Choosing stillness or taking knees into the chest. Choosing to keep the upper body grounded. That's what I'm going to do. Or maybe lift it up into a full body hug. And choosing stillness, removing any prop out of the way that you may have used during your Shavasana time. Taking legs long in front of you, arms long behind you, and reach and lengthen from the edge of the fingertips, the edge of the toes. Full body stretch, point and flex to the feet. Bend and stretch to the hands, rolling wrists and ankles in one direction, and then in the other. And then from here, whenever you're ready, carefully bend in both knees, and you choose rolling over to your right or left side, the side that works best for you in this moment, taking all the time that you need here. And whenever you're ready, press yourself up to a comfortable seat where we started our practice. Finding a nice tall seat. And noticing how you feel. Fingertips to the side, palms coming up. Reach, reach, reach. Look up there at those hands. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good. Coming back to that intention that you chose for yourself at beginning. One more time. And then we'll take those thumbs to the forehead for good and true thought, to the lips for good and kind words, and to the heart for open and loving heart, knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted, no gain is ever reversed. May you be safe. May you stay well. May you have a wonderful day, week, month, season, year ahead. Thank you so much. Namaste.